6 times fast.
Ponziani. Yeah.
There you go,
It's
chat.
not that hard.
There you go. Fine. You know what? I'm gonna up the difficulty for your next challenge, but we
Okay.
do have the game on the board.
Okay, so e4 is played by Ludwig. E5. Okay, as expected. Ludwig taking a deep breath. Okay. Knight f3.
And yeah, chat is saying that challenge was hard for a human. No, don't worry, guys. This was part of Hikaru's last patch. They
now
gave him
we're gonna see if Ludwig is gonna play what I suggest. Or
yes,
yes,
he did.
Come on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Game on. Now we're gonna see did Boxbox go back and watch the VOD or not. We're gonna see the psychology here. If Boxbox
if he watched the VOD,
if
he watched the VOD, what do you expect from him here?
He would move quickly. Okay, he did not watch the VOD because he played G6 right away. There are much more aggressive replies in the center of the board that you should play here. So, okay, this is actually quite good for Ludwig. If he should push the pawn, following the principles, push the pawn in the center, and then bring out the bishop right away to c4.
And he did it. So he is using the notes from his lesson, and soon we're going to see him develop his bishop if he followed along.
Right, and yeah, and so basically here you take with the pawn. And the key is that white gets the center very quickly here. You can push the pawns. You can attack the knight. I will say, however, that I did not actually show this G6 move to Ludwig because it's a move that is slightly inferior. It's not the best move in the position. So this is very critical already for Boxbox. Very important here that he plays bishop to G7. If he plays any other move here, he could end up in a lot of trouble right away. So this is very critical, and we're only 4 moves into the game. So this is going to be. I think this is going to be one of the games which is very tense from the very beginning.
And Ludwig, I think he's listening to classical music, and he has a very funny comment. He said, "Can't be copy struck if the guy died 300 years ago. One of my many 5-head moves I'll be making today."
Nice. So okay, so you should take the pawn and bring the knight into the center of the board. This is why I think it's very risky what's happening at the start of this game by Boxbox. Because if Ludwig takes the pawn and then brings the knight to attack the queen, he is already much, much better in this game.
Right. But I wonder how intuitive that is for him, because I think a move that might come more naturally to Ludwig is just to take out his knight, kind of, just adhering to those basic opening principles to try to develop your pieces quickly.
Right. That is a reasonable way of playing it. I think I did tell him though that he does. If your opponent moves the queen out early, it's violating the principles. So I do see a way that he could rationalize taking the pawn here, even if it's not the most obvious move.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm loading up his stream to see if we can get some of his thoughts here as well. It's still loading. Sure. I need to subscribe so that I don't get these ads. But it'll happen. And Boxbox, so he has 9 minutes to 8:25. Boxbox,
right? So Ludwig is thinking about moving the bishop. I'm actually listening in.
Got it. All right, so he moved the bishop, and this wasn't the most accurate move because he's leaving the pawn on e4 unguarded.
Yeah, but this is a very weird position because after black takes the pawn, you can move the knight to e5, and it's still very unclear.
Sorry, I just meant to say that we did add Ludwig, and he is live, so we can hear his thoughts. Or actually, his 500-year-old music.
Expected?
So he said he expected this. Do you think he's going to move his knight to e5?
I think it's critical that he does. If he pushes the pawn, it's a bad exchange.
Yeah, I could battery. Yeah. I actually don't feel too bad about battering here. This is actually kind of a bait. I wonder if he takes it.
He's baiting Boxbox.
If he takes my knight on f3, he's fucked!
All right.
Because then I take knight c6.
So
he can only respond with
let's go back to the game.
Pawn. Then I take his pawn.
I think we're going to go back to the mute so that we can, explain what's going on in the game here.
Right. So he's trying to remember what I showed him last night. But the problem is here. Oh, Boxbox doesn't take the knight.
Oh,
no.
I mean, he still has a good position, but he's completely winning.
Yeah, if he took the knight, he was just winning. So the bait kind of worked, I guess, by Ludwig. He still has to move the knight on this move, though. He has to move the knight here. He's got to move the knight so he doesn't lose the knight for free.
Yeah, and he seems surprised by this. He thought I'm worried that he's gonna leave the knight there because he thinks it's still good bait.
I don't think so because, again, one of the things I said is if you look at the ratings, Ludwig is 1100. So Ludwig's rating actually is pretty high amongst most of the players. So I don't think he's going to leave it hanging for a second time here. I expect him to move the knight.
There you go.
And he does.
He did. 95. Great move on his end. Boxbox has to be a little bit careful to not make any mistakes here, but he can go for just a knight trade.
Yeah, but this is actually, I think, completely okay for white because if you trade the knights and the bishops, then you're going to lose a pawn on this b7 square. So, yeah, this game is still very, very unclear, and it's the first game I think we've seen where the players have gotten into a position very early on where neither player knows what they're doing. Like they don't have a set plan or a set strategy, and I think in all the other games we've seen the players get out of the opening phase relatively quickly without any trouble. In this game, both players are kind of up and down. It's very, very imbalanced. I don't really know what's going to happen.
And let's say they trade off into a middle game or an end game, then that's where Boxbox would be the favorite. But Ludwig is probably not thinking like that. I feel like he's confident.
Yeah, I think Ludwig generally is very confident. He believes in himself, and he's got a good position here. I think this is very, very good for him at this point. I really do like what he's done so far, even if the ordering wasn't quite right.
Yeah, fair enough. So Boxbox is taking a think here. Maybe we could go and listen to what he's saying here. I love the animation he has on his board. Okay, we're about to pull up his stream.
Okay. Or he'll take now, at which point I'll take now. No, that's not good for me. That's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm actually really nervous. I'm really scared here. Do I have to go here? I feel like I have to. Okay, so then what happens after he does this? Am I then taking a knight?
I like the way he's thinking through this. The only problem is that he's starting
I think at that point I'm taking knight.
Have quite a bit of a time sink.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Boxbox, this is this is very tricky, and I think you might want to show. Are you showing a screen or not? Oh,
yeah, okay.
97. Oh,
we'll get. I thought we were on his screen. Oh no, we were just listening to him. Sorry, I thought we had his arrows on the board. That was my bad.
Okay, so if he does this,
but okay, let's go back to muting him. So knight g7. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, I think it's probably the best move, but it's also a very risky move because white can now bring the bishop out to pin the knight and the queen.
And Boxbox did see that plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is also reasonable.
And just shout out to everybody, 60,000 people. This is currently the most watched show on Twitch right now, and you guys were here. Hikaru, Ludwig, Boxbox, huge shout out. Thanks so much, everyone.
This is exciting. This is definitely the premier game of the first set of matches. And so far it's living up to the billing, even if there was this big hiccup where Black could have taken the knight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think so far this is a very good opening for Ludwig. He's not doing badly. Albert actually, Boxbox, he looks a little bit uncomfortable. Normally when I've watched him do his streams and when he's explaining his moves, he doesn't look uncomfortable. And he actually looks a little bit uncomfortable right now, just looking at the physical body language. So I think that this is anyone's game. Right. And I mean, at some point, if Ludwig wants to take advantage, he is going to have to trade off. And it seems like that moment is now, since Boxbox is putting pressure on his knight on e5. So he probably anticipates the threat as well. Yeah, I think probably what he should do is he should probably take the bishop with the knight and then develop his knight, play for the quick attack rather than something slow. This is one thing I tried to sort of explain to him last night when I was helping him out, is play aggressively. Don't sort of sit back and let your opponent kind of outplay you or outmaneuver, out strategize you, because the difference between the players at these levels is basically the only chance you're going to have to beat them is if you can make them uncomfortable and get them to make a blunder in the opening phase of the game. And bishop f4, by the way, which was played, is also a very good move. I do like this. So bishop f4, and Boxbox now pushes a6. So he is,
I did like knight d7. Your idea made a lot of sense to get the bishop pair off, but he developed, so that's intuitive as well.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, yeah, the problem is that knight takes e5 is going to get rid of the threat on f7 and also attack the queen at the same time. So if Boxbox sees this, he is winning. I think Hikaru had a heart attack.
No, I'm still here.
Team,
but
can you check his pulse, please?
No, I'm still here. But like, yeah, okay, I get it's a joke. But why hasn't Boxbox taken the knight right away?
Well, why don't we actually take a look at Boxbox now, if we can just do that quickly so we can see what he's saying.
No, he's gonna play b5.
Oh, he castled. Okay. He didn't go for it.
Okay, he castled.
He didn't go for it. Oh no. Okay, but
he's
look,
still better. He's still better.
It's a tough position. There's a lot going on, and I
interesting.
understand why he's afraid about that. So I just want to say that for Boxbox, it is a tough position. He's still better.
This is
And
interesting. Okay.
kind of for Ludwig also, it's hard to see all of these. There's too much traffic in the lane.
Right now,
XQC
obviously,
style.
2 defense. I have 2
Right, there's
attack.
definitely too much going
I could
on.
battery my
but yeah,
bishop on this file now.
Yeah, this
I'm not
is
really
definitely
sure what his reply would be, though.
complicated.
Maybe
And
cut off
also
of
the other
his
thing is, look
bishop?
at the time. Like they're both very low on time, and we're only what, like on move 10 or something. Yeah, like both players have already used half their time, and we're so early on in the game
I do like
that I think this is very, very messy. And I do worry for Boxbox because he's already missed
I just
2
can't tell if I'd rather
opportunities to win the
battery
game.
or if I'd
Yeah,
rather move
and
my
watching
rook out,
your
or, excuse me, my
reactions
last
as
knight
they
out and
play
activate that
makes me
piece.
feel like that's God
'Cause
looking
right
down
now,
on me as I
I'm not
make my
activating all my
mistakes.
pieces. I think I just
Because you just have such a high level of understanding. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way I would say is like when I look at these games, there are certain people where, based on what I've seen out of them, I do expect them to see certain basic concepts or tactical ideas. So that's the reason that I am somewhat disappointed, because I have seen Boxbox play some really good chess, and he is definitely capable of seeing these ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here it seems like he's very worried about that pawn on f7, and he can just eliminate the threat by getting rid of the knight on e5, because then if bishop takes, rook takes, and it's defended, the pawn is defended twice, it's attacked three times. So if you get rid of one of those attackers, he should be comfortable, and he's managed to develop and get to safety here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make the play. It's like, it feels like Ludwig makes a blunder every other move, and then the other move he plays is always very, very good. Like queen b3 is an excellent move here by Ludwig, because you don't want to remove your knight and help activate the black bishop. So this game's just been very confusing, because Ludwig plays a blunder, and then he plays like a great move, and then he plays a blunder, and then he plays a great move. So he seems to be very, very, very up and down. But right now he's on the right tempo. He's coming off the good move. So oh no, bishop e6. Oh no.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, if Boxbox gets the bishop, if Ludwig takes the bishop, then he's going to recapture. He's currently down a pawn, but he gets his pawn back. And on top of that, okay, I see the eval bar saying he's only up a pawn, but he has an attack on the king that I think is going to be very scary for Boxbox.
Yeah, so basically you trade the bishops, and then you take with the queen, and then you move the knight with the fork.
Right. Oh, I mouse slipped trying to show your line. Okay, no, that's not what I meant. Here we go.
I assume this is going to happen.
Yeah, so chat, this is not what's happening. I just wanted to put Hikaru's explanation on the board.
So, okay, so he played one good move. Are we going to see 2 good moves is the real question, because we saw a good move, blunder pattern from Ludwig. So it's important that Ludwig trades the bishops here and just takes the pawn. Whether he can play the sequence of the good moves is what we're going to see here. But if he does take the pawn, I think he should see it. Or takes the bishop, he should see it.
Let's go to Ludwig, because I think he's about to explain it. Didn't mean to cut you off there. And let's listen what he has to say.
So I could... bring my...
Is he going to see it? Moment of truth.
Actually... What purpose is my bishop serving on f4?
Uh-oh.
Or is it better to bring a new piece out? I guess
don't think he's gonna see it,
defending the knight. Yeah, he's defending the knight. Yeah. I can't move him. I feel like I wanted to do c3, and I talked myself into c3, but now I'm recognizing maybe because I didn't activate my my knight soon enough, I should just
All right, let's
D1
go back
with my
to
rook.
our board on that
like
end.
That. I like
because we did see his move, so we'll go back to talking here. Hikaru, he's keeping up the pattern. Hikaru?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, sorry, I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, so now Boxbox, this is his third opportunity to win the game. Very important that he takes advantage of it here. This is very important. Also, the other thing I would say is right now both players are getting very low on the clock now. Both players are down to 3 minutes. So this is going to probably be a complete blunderfest here if Boxbox fails to win the game on the spot, which he can, I believe, with knight takes knight. And if white captures the knight back, you take the bishop and the queen and the rook get overloaded. But we'll see. We'll see if this happens. I mean, both players are getting low on time. Both players are clearly very nervous, I think you can say. So this is
Knight takes d4 just played.
Okay, so this is a good move, although I do worry after queen to c3 what the next... I guess you can go knight f3, which is probably winning. But again, whether Boxbox sees this, considering how shaky he's been so far, I think is... we'll see. I think he will, but I don't know if it's guaranteed.
I mean, I think this position is very complex for the players. Less than 3 minutes on the time. All of the pieces are still on the board, except for, 3 pawns here. So there is a lot to calculate, and time pressure. I think this is going to be one of the first games I have commentated on where time plays a very serious role.
Yeah, I think time will play a role here. If Boxbox sees a tactical solution that wins on the next move, I think the game will end. Otherwise, you're right, though. The time will definitely play a very big role here in this game. Ludwig's down to 2 minutes now. So it's basically with these guys, I think every single move is super critical. It's basically when you make your move, then all the pressure goes back to the other guy and so forth with every passing move.
Well, on the bright side for Ludwig, I see him hovering over the queen, so we're not going to see a blunder there.
Right. I actually was wondering if he should maybe try to take the knight and then take the bishop, but I think considering he already missed his opportunity to capture the bishop,
right,
he will move the queen.
Yeah, because to play a move like rook takes d4, he would have to see the continuation. Otherwise, it's just a bad move.
Right, exactly. But he's getting way too low on time. He's got to move.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to players when they're, in complicated positions and they're starting to take so long on their clock?
I think they should probably start moving quicker because, again, I think when you get too low on the clock, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. And here, Ludwig, he's still maybe okay, but he's just got to make a move. So I think once you get too low on the clock, as people who are relatively new to chess, you're not going to be able to see patterns. Okay, now he blunders. Now Albert has many ways to win the game here.
Right. He has discovery attack on f3 if he wants, and the reason why that is good is because it opens up the queen to take on d1. And this is a tactic that Boxbox would definitely see if either he knew it was a tactic like on Puzzle Rush or if he has enough time.
Right. So he should see it. I think what makes this even easier to see is that the queen is not attacking the knight anymore. Like the queen's not on the third rank. So because the queen went down, you can also take the bishop here, which is quite good, followed by knight to e2 check. Okay, did he move it?
Yeah, he took that.
Okay, so now this is where if Ludwig can see the checkmate pattern and move his knight out to c3, there still are some chances, but I don't think he's going to see it, and he blunders knight c4. Now, knight e2 to finish the game.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Boxbox saw it. Honestly, that's a beautiful finish from Boxbox to see this combination.
Yeah, wow. This is very, very good finish by Boxbox here.
He has that tactical side. It was a messy game. Really quite a roller coaster, to be honest. But the last blunder was on Ludwig, and Boxbox took advantage of it.
And Boxbox is going to win the game now with queen d1. Yeah, very, very, very close game. Very, very tight. I think until the end, we weren't sure what was going to happen there. And out of all the games, this is the one that I think has had probably the most drama where it wasn't clear to the deepest moment. Like the Slinger Nim game was fantastic, but already someone was ahead by his point. So what a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will be going on audio for Boxbox just so we can hear his reaction. He must be pretty happy. And we actually had 3 wins by